I wasn't supposed to survive that night. I remember the exact moment I realized it, right as the pain tore through my ribs like fire cracking bone, right as the change started to take me without warning. It was too soon. The moon wasn't full yet. I hadn't prepared. I hadn't isolated myself. I was just walking home like a normal person, wearing a hoodie too thin for the cold, trying not to be noticed. But the scent hit me, blood. Not mine. Someone else's. Somewhere close. And like a fuse being lit, something inside me snapped and ignited. I staggered into the alley, clutching my side, breathing shallowly. My vision blurred. My hands twitched and convulsed. My nails lengthened. My skin rippled. I barely made it to the shadows when the first growl slipped from my throat. It was guttural.
Wrong. Loud.
Someone heard it. I heard the footsteps. Fast, sharp, alert. Hunter boots. My body betrayed me, shifting before I could fight it, leaving behind the fragile shape of Ivy as the creature beneath took over. My last human thought was, they're going to kill me. But I didn't die. Not that night. Because she was there.
Dahlia.
I didn't know her name then. Just a woman in black, stepping into the alley like she belonged to it, like the darkness wrapped around her because it obeyed her. She didn't run. She didn't scream. She looked at me, fully shifted, snarling, half crazed with pain and panic, and she didn't flinch. She raised a hand.
Come.
Controlled. You don't want to do this here, she said, her voice low, precise, like a blade sliding into velvet. You'll regret it. I don't remember what happened after that. Just flashes. A silver needle piercing my neck. Her arms catching me when I collapsed. Her breath warm against my ear as she whispered, I've got you. When I woke, I was back in my human skin, drenched in sweat, curled up in a bed I didn't recognize. The sheets were too clean. The air too still. I sat up, heart racing. She was sitting across the room, reading. Calm as ever. Her black coat was gone. Her eyes were darker than anything I'd ever seen. Not evil. Just ancient. You're awake, she said without looking up. Good. Where am I? I rasped. Somewhere safe. You saw me. I did. You should have killed me.
She looked up then.
Her gaze met mine and held. Maybe. Why didn't you? She closed the book. Because I don't believe in killing things just because they exist. But you knew what I was. I did. I stared at her, waiting for the question that always came next. How long have you been like this? Are there more of you? Do you lose control? Do you want to hurt people?
But she didn't ask.
Instead, she walked over, crouched in front of me, and said, I'm going to protect your secret. No one else will know. I should have run. I should have been suspicious.
No one reacts like that.
No one helps one of us. But I was too exhausted, too raw, too terrified to do anything but nod. Why? I whispered. Her expression didn't change. Because if they come for you, they'll have to go through me. I didn't even know her name. Over the next few days, I learned almost nothing about her. She let me stay in a tiny guest room above a bookstore that she apparently owned. She made me tea, without asking what kind I liked. She never touched me, never questioned me, just watched, observed, like she was waiting. Ivy, she said once, after I told her my name, what would happen if the world knew what you were? I'd be dead. Why? Because monsters don't get mercy. Do you think you're a monster? Don't you? She looked at me for a long time before saying, no. But I think someone convinced you to believe it.
I didn't ask about her life.
I didn't ask why she lived alone, why her eyes sometimes looked like she hadn't slept in weeks, why she stared at the fire like it whispered to her. But I noticed things. The way her shoulders tensed when sirens passed. The way she always sat with her back to a wall. The way she never smiled with her whole face, like joy was something she'd once touched and now feared. I was falling for her before I even realized it. Not in the way people fall when everything's light and new. I fell like a collapse. Like a broken wall giving way. Like something that had held too long finally letting go.
And she caught me.
Every glance, every word, Every moment of silence between us built something I didn't know how to name. I started to sleep better. I started to breathe without fear. I started to believe that maybe I wasn't cursed. Maybe I wasn't alone. The first time she touched me, really touched me, was during a nightmare. I'd shifted in my sleep, teeth bared, claws halfway through my skin, sweat pouring off me. She didn't run. She climbed into the bed and wrapped her arms around me like it was the most natural thing in the world. I sobbed into her shirt. "They kill my sister," I gasped. "They hunted her like an animal and left her in pieces." She held me tighter. "They'll never touch you. You don't know that. I do.
How?
Because I've seen what they do."
How?
She didn't answer.
Just rocked me until I slept.
In the morning, I asked again, "How do you know what they do to us?" She stared out the window. "Because I was one of them." And just like that, the warmth between us turned to ice. The room went cold. Not from the wind outside or the creeping winter that pressed against the windows. It was her words. Simple. Unapologetic. I was one of them. I stared at her like she had just stepped out of a nightmare wearing my dead sister's scent. "You were what?" She didn't flinch. Didn't shrink. Just stood there with her jaw set and her eyes unreadable, like she'd been expecting this moment to come and had already prepared for how it would feel to lose me. "You heard me," she said. "I was one of the hunters." My legs nearly gave out. I backed away like her presence could burn me, like the skin she'd touched only hours ago was now tainted with the blood of people like me. "You knew what I was the moment you saw me," I whispered. "You knew, and you let me stay. Why?" She looked at me for a long time before answering, and when she finally did, her voice cracked, barely audible beneath the weight of whatever she carried. "Because I knew what they would do to you. Because I've seen it. Because I helped do it." "Then why didn't you kill me too?" "Because I couldn't do it again. Not after everything. Not when I saw your face." "My face," I scoffed, rage flaring hot behind my eyes. "What? Did I remind you of one of your trophies? Of one you missed?" "No," she said, taking a step forward. I backed up.
She stopped.
"Because you looked afraid." And I remembered what that fear looked like when it was real. Not enemy. Not monster. Just human. "I'm not human," I spat. "And you know it. You're more human than anyone I ever worked with." My hands were shaking. I didn't know whether I wanted to scream or sob. I wanted to hit her. I wanted to kiss her. I wanted to undo the way she'd made me feel safe. "Why are you telling me this now?" I asked. "Because you asked," she said. "And because I'd rather you hate me for the truth than love me for a lie." "Don't flatter yourself. I don't love you." "Then why haven't you left?" I couldn't answer. My heart was slamming in my chest, my instincts roaring and tangled, demanding I run and hide and tear her throat out all at once. But I didn't move. Neither did she. "You're the reason my sister is dead," I whispered. Her eyes closed like the words were knives. "I know. You didn't even ask her name, did you?" "No," she said. "We weren't allowed to. You were allowed to kill, but not to know." "It made it easier," she said. "At least that's what they told us. But it didn't work." I still remember them all. Their faces. The way they screamed. The way they begged. She was trembling now, too. Her walls were still up, but I could see the cracks. "Why did you leave?" I asked, voice tight. "What made you stop?" Her jaw clenched. "One of the alphas I worked with, he liked it. Too much. And one night, he made me watch as he tortured a young Omega who hadn't even shifted yet. He said it was training. Said we had to be ready for when they fought back. And I realized," she looked at me, "we were the monsters, not you." Silence stretched between us like a noose. "So what?" I said bitterly. "You felt guilty and decided to save one of us, so you could sleep better?" "No," she said, her voice low and sharp. "I saved you because I couldn't let it happen again. And I kept you here because She stopped herself. I blinked. "Because what?" "Because I don't know how to look at you without wanting to protect you, even if you hate me for it." The word shouldn't have meant anything. They shouldn't have reached me, but they did. Because I saw it, just for a second, the way her fingers curled at her sides like they were aching to touch me but too ashamed to try. The way her mouth trembled when she tried to keep her voice steady. The way her eyes dropped, like she couldn't bear to see how much I hated her now. But I didn't. Not fully. And that was the most terrifying part of all. I should leave, I said. I know, but I don't want to. She looked up, hope flickering behind the guilt. Then don't. You don't get to ask that. I know, she repeated. Then why are you still looking at me like that? Because I've never wanted someone the way I want you. And I've never hated myself more for it. The room was too small. The air too tight. I walked past her, opened the door, and stepped out into the cold night. My breath hit the air in clouds. The wind bit at my skin.
But I didn't shift.
Not this time. Not even with the moon rising like a threat above the buildings. I wasn't running from myself anymore. I was running from her. Or maybe worse, I wasn't. I wandered until I found myself back at the bookstore. The lights were off. I didn't knock. I just opened the door and stood in the silence, surrounded by old pages and memories I hadn't yet made. She found me there an hour later. No words. No explanations. She stepped into the room and stopped when she saw me. Ivy, don't, I said. Just don't. She stood still. I don't know what I'm doing, I admitted. But I know I've never felt this safe with anyone. And I hate that it's you. I hate it too, she said quietly. I turned to her. Then what do? We don't lie, she said. Not to each other. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. I walked toward her, step by step. She didn't move. When I stood in front of her, I looked into those haunted eyes and whispered, "Do you regret saving me?" "Never," she breathed. "Do you think you deserve me?" "No." "Good," I said. "Because if this is going to work, we both have to earn it." The scent of blood hit me first. It was fresh, sharp, almost metallic on my tongue, carried on the wind like a warning. I stopped walking, heart thudding. Dahlia was next to me, her body going still the same second I froze. We were just a few blocks from the bookstore, coming back from a market where neither of us had said much. Things between us had shifted since that night. Words left unfinished, gazes held too long, space charged with everything we didn't say. I tried to pull away, tried to create distance, but I kept finding myself beside her, in rooms that smelled like old paper and secrets, pretending we were just two women learning to trust each other. We weren't. And when that smell hit me, all of it, the fragile safety, the illusion of calm, it cracked. Dahlia tensed, nostrils flaring almost imperceptibly. "We need to go," she said. "Back inside.
Now."
"That's blood," I said. "It's recent." "I know. We should check." "No," her tone was sharp, final, and my instincts bristled. "Dahlia, you don't understand what's happening. Just go. Then explain it to me." I snapped. "Why do you look scared?" "Because I know what that scent means. And I know who leaves it behind." I stared at her. She looked rattled. For the first time, actually afraid. And I realized something I hadn't admitted until that moment. Dahlia was never afraid of me. She wasn't afraid of the shift, of my claws, of what I could become. She was afraid of them. The ones she'd once worked with. The ones still out there. "Are they back?" I asked quietly. "They never left," she said. "I tried to believe they wouldn't come here, that they wouldn't find us. But I was wrong. Then we fight." She shook her head. "You're not ready. Don't decide that for me. You'll die." "Then let me choose it." Her jaw tightened. "You think I can watch them take you? You think I'd survive that? Then tell me the truth. All of it. Love what you've seen so far and want to help me keep creating these awesome stories on this channel? Then subscribe and hit the bell. Your subscription supports the channel and makes sure you get more exciting stories." Her silence was answer enough. I turned and ran toward the scent. It was stronger now, closer. I followed it to a narrow alley, not far from where I'd first transformed in front of her. The body was already cold. A young werewolf, barely shifted. The blood was pooled beneath him in thick, frozen patterns. No silver. No broken bones. Just precision. A clean kill. Rage bloomed in my chest like wildfire. I dropped to my knees beside him, touched his face. He couldn't have been older than 16. And someone had ended him like he was nothing. Why would they come back now? I whispered. Dahlia's voice came from behind me, quiet and hollow. Because I'm here. What? I stood. What does that mean? They're not just hunting you, she said. They're watching me. I stared at her. You said you left. I did. Then why are they still tracking you? Because I was never supposed to walk away. And because I know too much. Like what? She hesitated. Like who's leading the new wave of attacks? You said you were just a foot soldier. That you didn't know names. I lied. Her voice was calm, measured. But I saw it. The tremor in her hand. The way her eyes flicked toward the rooftop, like she expected someone to shoot her down where she stood. How deep were you? I asked. What did you do, Dahlia? I helped design the hunts, she said. I studied your kind. I created the profiles they still use to track you. I wrote the training manuals. I named the threat levels. And then I burned it all and walked away. My stomach turned. You created the system that's killing us. Yes. And now you're what? Atoning? Surviving, she said. Running. Trying to stop what I started before it swallows everything. I stepped back. Why did you really save me? Because I saw what I'd done in your eyes. And I couldn't live with it anymore. Then help me stop them. She blinked. What? You owe us. You owe him. I gestured to the boy at our feet. Help me end it. They'll kill you. Then train me. No, why not? Because I care about you. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. I pushed past her and started walking. I didn't know where I was going, just away. But she followed.
She always did.
We didn't speak until we were back at the shop. I went upstairs. She stayed in the doorway. Her presence was a weight in the air. When I turned around, she was standing in the shadows, watching me like she didn't know how to step back into the light. Do you regret it? I asked. All of it. Every day. Then let me see it. See what? Who you were. Her voice cracked. You won't come back from that. Then stop hiding. If I'm going to love you, I need to know who I'm loving. The moment the word left my lips, love, I saw her crumble just a little. A fracture in the wall. A breath held too long. She stepped closer. One step.
Two.
The space between us burned. You love me? She asked. I don't want to, I said. But I do. Even now. Especially now. She reached out like she didn't believe I'd let her touch me. I didn't move. Her fingers grazed my jaw, light as air, but my heart slammed in my chest. Then promise me, she whispered. If you stay, if we do this, you won't let me lie again. I promise. And if I fall apart, then I'll catch you. The same way you caught me.
She leaned in.
Her forehead touched mine. Her breath ghosted over my lips. I'm not good, she whispered. Neither am I. And then she kissed me. Finally. No hesitation. No fear. Just fire. Just ache. Just the feeling of two broken things trying to fit together in a world that wanted to break them further. Her mouth tasted like desperation. Mine tasted like hunger. And for one moment, there was no war. No hunters. No death. Just her. Just me. Just this. The first time she knocked me to the ground, I saw stars. Not because she hit me too hard, but because I hadn't expected it to feel like a lesson. I'd asked her to train me.
Begged her, really.
After we kissed, after the silence stretched too long and the fire in my chest refused to die, I told her I couldn't wait for death to find me. I had to fight back. I needed to be ready. She said no. Said she couldn't turn me into a weapon, not when she'd spent so many years trying to forget she ever was one. But I looked at her, steady and unflinching, and said, then teach me how not to die. And that, somehow, she understood. Our first session was before sunrise. She woke me with cold water to the face and a look that dared me to complain.
You said you wanted this, she said.
I didn't realize you meant to start before I even remembered how to stand. You won't always have time to stretch before they try to kill you. Comforting. She tossed me a wooden staff. Block. Block what? Her strike came fast and clean, nearly knocking the weapon from my hands. My arm stung. My pride stung more. She didn't smile. Again. The next 2 hours were a blur of pain, sweat, and frustration. She was silent while she moved, but every blow had purpose. She wasn't just teaching me to fight, she was teaching me to think, to read, to know. By the end, I was flat on my back, chest heaving, drenched in sweat. She stood over me, calm as ever, not even winded. You lasted longer than I thought, she said. Are you trying to compliment me? If I was, you'd know. Her eyes lingered on mine just a second too long before she turned and walked away. That was how it went, day after day. Training at dawn. Books and old war maps by afternoon. Long silences. Stolen glances. Nights that felt like something might happen, and mornings where she acted like nothing had. She didn't kiss me again. She barely touched me at all. But I caught her watching me when she thought I wasn't looking. I caught the way her breath hitched when I beat a drill. The way she clenched her jaw when I limped. She was protecting me from more than blades. She was protecting me from her.
But I didn't want that.
I wanted her, even if it hurt. Especially if it hurt. Why won't you let me close? I asked one night, after a brutal session that left my arm bloodied. She was bandaging it, jaw tight. I'm right here, she said.
No.
You're around. You're not with me. I'm your trainer. You're the woman who kissed me like she'd been starving for years. Her hands paused. The air tightened. That was a mistake. My heart flinched. Was it? It makes you vulnerable.
No.
It made me feel alive. You'll lose your focus. Then I'll train harder. You'll lose yourself in me. I've already lost myself without you. She looked up then, pain written so clearly across her face, I could barely hold her gaze. If I let this happen, Ivy, there's no undoing it. No taking it back. I don't do halfway. Neither do I. Then what happens when they come for me? She asked. When you find out what else I've done? Then I'll decide if I still love you. And if you don't, then I'll still fight for you, I said, voice shaking. Even if it breaks me. She didn't respond, just finished bandaging me and left the room like the silence would somehow keep us safe. That night, I couldn't sleep. I paced the floor of my room, heart heavy with every unspoken word between us. I thought about the boy they killed, about how many more might die while I waited for Dahlia to be ready to let me in. And then I heard the door downstairs creak open. Quiet footsteps. A voice. A man's voice. I crept down the stairs, silent as a ghost, ears straining. I stopped before the last step. I saw her. And him. He was tall, lean, dressed in black with a scar running down his jaw and a cruel smirk that didn't quite reach his eyes. I told you not to come here, Dahlia said, her back to me. And I told you you'd never outrun this, he replied. They know where you are. They've seen the girl. Leave her out of this. You didn't leave anyone out of it when you defected. You think they'll forgive that? I don't care what they forgive. You should, he said, because they're coming. And when they do, they'll use her to punish you. You love her, don't you?
She didn't speak.
That's your mistake, he said. And it'll be her death. Get out, she said, her voice deadly. I'm warning you. No, he said. I'm warning you. Choose now, Dahlia. The girl or the cause. And then he turned and walked out. She stood there, breathing like she was trying not to break. I slipped back upstairs before she saw me. My heart was thunder. My lungs were fire. She loves me. She hadn't said it, but he had. And she hadn't denied it. And they were coming for her.
For me. For us.
I didn't sleep. I just lay in bed waiting for her to come up. She didn't. And in the morning, when I went downstairs, she was gone. I knew she was gone before I opened my eyes. The bed was cold. The house was still. The scent she left behind, coffee and firewood and something sharp beneath it, like iron, was already starting to fade. I sat up slowly, heart beating too loud, too fast, the silence in the room pressing against my ribs like a warning. This wasn't like the other mornings. This wasn't her giving me space or pretending last night didn't matter. This was goodbye. I threw on my jacket and boots, barely remembering how to breathe, let alone move with purpose. I was out the door in seconds. The street was gray and empty, the sky dull with low clouds. I checked the usual places first. The alley behind the shop. The rooftop where she liked to stand and watch the city like it might attack. The library where she used to disappear when the world got too loud. Nothing. No note. No trace. Just me, hollowed out and burning. My body still ached from training, my muscles sore and stiff, but I didn't stop. I went to the market, asked questions with my voice low and my scent tightly hidden.
People lied to me.
Or maybe they just didn't care. I was about to give up when I caught a whiff of something unmistakable. Silver.
Fresh.
I followed it to the outskirts of town, toward the place where the road bends near the cliffs, and that's when I saw it, blood on the concrete. Not hers. Not human. Wolf. I dropped to my knees. The scene was quiet, too clean, like it had been scrubbed. But the scent lingered. And so did the message. Spray painted in red on the wall behind the blood. The traitor dies next. My chest caved in. I staggered back, hands shaking. They weren't hunting me anymore. They were hunting her. Because she loved me. Because she'd left them. Because she knew too much. And she was trying to end it alone. I stormed back into town, heart splitting with every step. She had to be close. She wouldn't go far. Not without saying goodbye. Not unless she thought goodbye would keep me safe. At dusk, I returned to the bookstore. The front door was locked. I picked it. Upstairs was empty. Her weapons were gone. The bed was stripped. But in the closet, buried under a floorboard, I found something, a folder. My name on it. Inside were photos.
Notes.
Maps. Newspaper clippings. Records of every kill the hunters had made in the last 6 months. The same mark on every body, clean cuts, no silver bullets, just knives. Just signatures. In the back of the folder, a note. 3 words. Don't follow me. I stood there shaking, the words blurring as my eyes burned. She'd left to protect me. She'd taken her secrets and her scars and walked back into the fire. Alone.
To die.
I screamed. Loud, raw, primal. I wanted to shift and rip something apart. I wanted to tear the sky open and drag her back with my teeth. Instead, I dropped the folder, grabbed my pack, and left. I followed the path she'd shown me in training. The one she said was only for emergencies. Through the forest. Across the creek. Past the line where the old cabin stood. Abandoned. Except for one. The door was cracked open. The floor smelled of gunpowder and dust. There were maps on the table. Knives on the wall. And blood on the sink. Hers. I touched it. Still warm. She was close. I closed my eyes, inhaled, felt the thread between us thin, frayed, but still there. I moved with purpose now. Not like prey. Like a storm. Like she'd taught me. An hour later, I found the trail. Boot prints. Broken twigs. A hidden car covered with branches. Inside, more weapons. A comms device. And her jacket. The one she always wore. The one she kissed me in. I pressed it to my face. Her scent was everywhere. It was like being held and gutted at the same time. I kept moving. The night fell fast, but I didn't stop. Not when the moon rose. Not when the hunger clawed at my ribs. Not when I felt the shift tug at my bones. I stayed human. For her. For us. Near midnight, I heard a voice. Not hers.
Male. Cold.
The order is to kill her on sight. A pause. A laugh.
Pity.
I was hoping we could play first. My blood turned to ice. I crouched low in the brush, scent masked, heart silent. They were close. 3 of them.
Armed.
moving fast, toward the cliffs, toward her. I took off running. My lungs burned.
My feet bled.
I didn't care. I would not lose her. Not like this. Not because she thought I needed saving. When I reached the cliffs, I saw them. She was standing at the edge, back to the sea, facing 3 armed hunters like she wasn't afraid. She didn't see me. Her hands were empty. Her body still. "It ends here," one of them said. "You should have stayed where you belong." "I never belonged to you," she said. "Not after her." "So you die for Mutt?" "Gladly."
I stepped out of the shadows then.
Voice like thunder. "She's not dying for me." All 4 turned. Dahlia's eyes widened. "Ivy, don't," I said. "You don't get to leave me behind." The hunters moved fast. But I was faster. Training and rage and love in my veins, I leapt forward, claws out, teeth bared. One went down before he could fire. Dahlia moved too, sharp and precise. A blade in her hand, like magic. We fought together like we'd been born to. Like fate had designed our bodies to protect each other. When it was over, we stood in silence, panting, blood on our clothes, hands shaking. She looked at me like I was a miracle she didn't deserve. I stepped forward, cupped her face. "Don't you ever leave me like that again. I was trying to save you. I never asked you to die for me." "Then what do you want?" I leaned in, my forehead against hers. "I want you to live with me." She closed her eyes. "I'm scared." "So am I. I don't know how to love you without destroying everything." "Then we learn. Together." She pulled me into her arms. And I let her. Finally. The morning after the attack, the silence between us was different. Not cold. Not uncertain. It was thick with everything we hadn't said, but now understood. She didn't pull away when I reached for her. Her hand found mine like it had been waiting. We sat on the edge of the cliff where the fight happened, the sea below still angry, crashing against the rocks like it knew what almost happened.
She didn't speak.
Neither did I. There was nothing to say that wouldn't shatter the fragile sense of safety we'd carved from chaos. But the illusion didn't last long. The first sign came just after dawn. An envelope slipped beneath the door of the bookstore. I found it while she was upstairs bandaging her arm. It wasn't signed, but the message was clear. She is your enemy. You stand with her. You fall with her. I didn't tell Dahlia right away. I didn't need to. She felt it in the shift of my breathing, the way my body stiffened as I read. "They know," I said quietly. She didn't ask who. She just nodded once, expression unreadable. "We need to leave." But now. I didn't argue. I packed only what I needed.
Clothes. A knife.
A photo I didn't remember keeping, of her, laughing in one of the rare moments she forgot how haunted she was. We left through the back. No goodbyes. No second guesses. By sunset, we were deep in the woods, moving fast and quiet. "Where are we going?"
I asked.
"Somewhere safe." "Does that place exist?" "It used to." She didn't explain. Just led me through a narrow trail hidden behind thorns and old trees, her steps confident. Sure. I followed without hesitation. I would have followed her into fire. We reached the cabin just before nightfall. It was smaller than I expected. Hidden in a thicket of black pine, half buried in overgrowth, its windows boarded and roof bowed from time. But she moved through it like it remembered her. She lit a fire. She checked the locks. She opened a floor panel and pulled out weapons, maps, clothes sealed in old vacuum bags. "You've been here before," I said. She nodded. It was a fallback point, in case a mission went wrong. "So the hunters know it too?" "Only a few. And if they find us, we fight." I didn't ask if we would win. I didn't care. That night, after everything was locked and the shadows outside grew thick and quiet, we lay on the floor near the fire, neither of us able to sleep. "Do you regret it?" I asked. "Saving me?" She looked over, eyes reflecting firelight. "Never. Even now. Especially now." I reached for her. My fingers found the line of her jaw, traced the scar beneath her ear. She didn't flinch. Then don't push me away anymore. I'm dangerous, Ivy. So am I. I've done unforgivable things. So have I. You deserve someone better. I don't want someone better, I said. I want you. She kissed me like she finally believed it. Like she finally gave herself permission to feel what she'd been denying since the moment she saw me shift in that alley. Her mouth was heat and hunger and desperation. My hands memorized the curve of her back, the tension in her spine, the way her breath hitched when I whispered her name. We made love on the floor like the world might end before morning. And maybe it would. But if it did, I would have died knowing I had her. All of her. Her scars. Her strength. Her broken, beautiful soul. After, she held me like a promise. I fell asleep listening to the rhythm of her heartbeat and dreaming of things I wasn't brave enough to name. Morning came too soon. And with it, another crack in the illusion of safety. We were eating quietly, toast and bitter coffee, when she stiffened. What is it? I asked. She didn't answer, just moved to the window and peered out. A bird. Not just any bird. A raven. Perched on a branch, watching the house. It's a signal, she said. From who? She didn't speak for a long time. Then, his name is Hellstrom. Who is he? The one who trained me. The one who… Yes, she said tightly. He's the architect. The one behind the new wave of kills. And if he knows where we are, we're already running out of time. You never told me his name, because I never thought we'd live long enough to say it out loud. And now I need to show you something. She led me to the back of the cabin, into a small room I hadn't noticed before. Inside was a steel box, locked and rusted. She opened it with a key hidden beneath her shirt. Inside were files. Dozens. Photos. Plans. Names. Victims. Survivors. A map of the region with red circles and dates. These are all the places the hunters have hit in the last year, she said. This isn't random. They're looking for something. What? A pack, she said. A surviving line. There aren't many left. No. But there's one. Hidden. Protected. And Hellstrom wants it gone. Why? Because they carry something he needs. What? She looked at me. A long, heavy pause. Immunity. The word landed like a fist. Immunity to silver? Yes. Passed through bloodlines. There's a theory it's genetic. Hellstrom thinks if he can harvest it, he can eliminate the need for weapons. You mean, he wants to make hunters who are immune, who don't need tools to kill wolves. Just instinct. I felt sick. He wants to become like us. No. He wants to be better. Deadlier. And if he finds the pack, he'll destroy them to get what he wants. And you know where they are. I do. And you're going to protect them. We are. She met my eyes. Fierce. Afraid. Unflinching. You in, Ivy? I didn't hesitate. Always. But in the corner of my mind, I already knew. Hellstrom wasn't just coming for the pack. He was coming for her. And now, he knew exactly how to hurt her through me. The air felt heavier the farther we moved from the cabin. Like the weight of what we were walking toward had already wrapped itself around us. The forest grew denser, darker, colder. Dahlia didn't speak much. She moved with the silent precision of someone who'd spent years watching death move through trees. I followed close behind, eyes scanning, senses sharpened. I could feel it too, something watching us. Not a hunter. Not yet. But something older. Something waiting. We hiked until our legs ached, stopping only when the moon reached its highest point. We made camp beneath a fallen ridge, barely speaking, only the crackle of fire between us. How much further? I asked. She looked at the map spread across her knee, the one she'd memorized long ago. 2 days. If the trail hasn't been buried. And if it has? Her jaw clenched. Then we improvise. I could feel the tension humming beneath her skin. Not fear. Not quite. Guilt, maybe. Or something worse. You've been there before, haven't you? I asked. The pack. Once. When? A pause. Before I left Hellstrom. You were hunting them. It wasn't a question. She nodded once. But you didn't kill them. No, why not? Because there was a child. Her eyes didn't meet mine. Because I looked at that girl and saw something I wasn't supposed to. I saw myself. What happened? I turned around. I never reported them. I lied to Hellstrom's face. I said the blood trail went cold. You risked everything. I didn't care anymore. She went quiet again. I studied her face in the firelight, the way shadows carved her features sharper, more haunted. Who were you before all this? I whispered. She closed her eyes. A ghost, she said. Long before I became a killer. That's not who I see. That's because you still believe in good. No, I said. It's because I believe in you. The fire popped between us. She reached across it slowly, fingers brushing mine, as if touch might crack her open. I let her. I always did. But even as our hands found each other again, I could feel it, something pulling her away. The next morning, she woke me before dawn. We moved fast, silent. The trees thinned. The air shifted. Around midday, we reached a stream where she stopped and knelt by the rocks. She traced a symbol carved into one of them, a crescent moon surrounded by 3 lines. They're close, she said. How do you know? This mark is theirs. It's changed. That means someone's still tending it. You think they'll trust us? They'll trust you, she said. They'll remember me. She didn't say it like a hope. She said it like a curse. We followed the river until it led to a hill, and beyond that, silence. Then movement. Fast. Blurred. I turned, teeth bared, body ready to shift. But Dahlia held up a hand. Don't, she said. They're watching. How do you know? Because that's what I trained them to do. And then, out of the brush, a figure stepped forward. A woman, barely older than me, golden eyes, scars across her neck. She saw Dahlia, and every muscle in her body went tense. You have 5 seconds to explain why I shouldn't rip your throat out, the woman growled. Because I'm not here to hunt you, Dahlia said. Not this time. Last time, you nearly destroyed us. And I never came back. I could've. I didn't. Because you're a coward. No, Dahlia said quietly. Because I saw a child crying over her mother's body and realized I was the monster. The woman's jaw clenched. You have a lot of nerve. I didn't come alone, Dahlia said, stepping aside. I came forward. Ivy, I said. I'm not part of them. I never was. But they're coming. And they know you exist. The woman studied me. You're the one Hellstrom marked. What? I blinked. How do you know that? Because we see the messages. He leaves them for her, she said, nodding at Dahlia. And he signs them with your name now. My stomach turned. Dahlia didn't move. She didn't react. But I could feel her unraveling beside me. Let us in, I said. We're not asking to stay, just to help. If one of you makes a wrong move, the woman said, I'll kill you both. Fair. She led us through the trees, deeper into the woods, until the scent of wolves grew thick. Fear, strength, survival. They lived in makeshift cabins, underground tunnels, old bunkers sealed with steel and salt. Children played in silence. Elders watched with hollow eyes. Survivors. All of them. And every single one of them flinched when they saw Dahlia. This was a mistake, she whispered. They hate me. You're not that woman anymore, I said. No, she whispered. But I still remember being her. That night, we were given separate quarters. Mine was in a root cellar, cold, damp, quiet. I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the way she looked when the pack stared at her. Like every glance was a blade she believed she deserved. I snuck out, found her sitting near the trees. Alone. You should be resting, she said. I can't, I replied. Not when I know you're out here blaming yourself. I'm not blaming, she said. I'm remembering. There's nothing left for you to prove to me. That's not true. Then tell me what this really is. What's Hellstrom's endgame? She looked at me, and for the first time, she really looked afraid. He doesn't just want immunity, she said. He wants rebirth. What does that mean? He wants to create a new species. One that hunts without remorse, without fear, without pain. That's not possible. It is if he finds her.
Who?
The child I let live, Dahlia said. She's not a child anymore. She's the key. The one with pure blood. And he won't stop until she's his. Why didn't you tell me this before? Because I didn't know if I could protect her. And now she looked away. I'm not sure I can protect you. I walked to her, put my hands on either side of her face. You already have.
You saved me from them.
From myself. I'm not afraid of who you were. You should be. I'm only afraid of losing you. She closed her eyes, leaned into me. Then stay close. No matter what. Always, I whispered. And this time she believed me. The air shifted the moment she stepped into the clearing. It wasn't just tension. It was history, blood deep and soul wound fresh. I stood close to Dahlia as the pack made way for her. They didn't speak. They didn't welcome. They simply watched, the kind of watch that held judgment sharpened over years of surviving. And then she appeared, the girl from Dahlia's memory. No longer a child, now a woman of fire and steel, golden eyes hard, stance wide, arms crossed like she was waiting to be disappointed. You finally showed your face again, the woman said. Dahlia didn't flinch. I had to. You had a choice back then. You made it. You left us bleeding. I didn't kill you, Dahlia said. And I could have. That's not mercy. That's guilt. Ivy stepped forward before Dahlia could answer. She's not here to hurt you. She's here to protect you. Too late for that, the woman snapped. The hunters are already close. I can smell the blood they spilled.
We can help you fight, I said.
We don't need help. You will. She looked me over. Her gaze softened slightly. You're different. Not like her. No, I said. But I love her. That silenced the clearing. Even Dahlia stiffened. But I didn't take it back. I wouldn't. The woman turned to Dahlia. Why now? After all this time? Because the man who made me into a weapon is trying to turn you into one too, Dahlia said. And if I don't stop him, he'll destroy everything I couldn't. The woman studied her a long time, then said, My name is Lyra now. You lost the right to call me anything else. Understood. You have one night. Prove you're not here to finish the job. Then she turned and disappeared into the trees. Dahlia stood frozen, her fists clenched, breathing shallow. I reached for her hand. You okay? No, she whispered. But I deserved every word. You didn't come here to reopen wounds.
No.
I came here because Hellstrom won't stop. And she's the key. Then we protect her. Together. That night, the pack let us stay in a small outpost near the edge of their territory. We took turns keeping watch. I sat awake while Dahlia cleaned her weapons. The fire flickered between us. You loved her, didn't you? I asked. She looked up. She was just a child. Not like that. I mean, she reminded you of something. Of who I used to be, she said. Before Hellstrom broke me. I nodded. She's strong now.
Fierce.
She'll fight. That's what I'm afraid of.
Why?
Because she doesn't know what he'll do to her if she's captured. I do. Then she won't be captured. You don't understand, Ivy. Dahlia stood, pacing. Hellstrom doesn't just kill. He changes people. Rewrites them. Like he did me. Like he tried to do with others. Lyra has something in her blood he wants. And he'll tear her apart to get it. Then we don't let him near her. It's not that simple. It has to be.
She stopped pacing.
If it comes down to it, and it's her or you, don't say that. You need to be ready. No, I stood. Walked to her. We find another way. No more sacrifices. No more blood. I don't think we get to choose anymore. I kissed her then. Not out of desire, but out of desperation. Like maybe, just maybe, I could tether her back to hope. She kissed me like She wanted to believe it too. The next morning, it all fell apart. The attack came before dawn.
Silent.
Brutal. Explosions shook the ground. The scent of silver filled the air. Screams echoed through the trees. I woke to chaos. Dahlia was already armed, pulling me from the bed, shoving a blade into my hand. "Stay behind me," she said. Not a chance. We burst into the clearing to see flames licking at the edge of the camp. Hunters in black masks moved like shadows, weapons gleaming. The pack fought fiercely, but they were unprepared. This wasn't a raid. This was annihilation. I found Lyra fighting near the well, her claws out, eyes wild. I joined her, back to back. "You brought this," she shouted. "I brought a warning," I shouted back. We moved in sync, cutting down 3 before I felt the cold sting of silver slash across my side. I screamed, staggered. Lyra caught me. Then Dahlia was there, moving like lightning, cutting through enemies with the fury of someone who had nothing left to lose. And then I saw him. Hellstrom.
Tall. Calm.
Watching from a distance.
Smiling.
Our eyes met. And I felt it recognition. He knew me. Not just from photos or reports. From something deeper. And he wanted me alive. Dahlia saw him too. She froze. "He's here," she whispered. "Then let's finish it." But she turned to me with something broken in her eyes.
"No," she said.
"You need to go." "What?" "Take Lyra."
"Run."
"I'll hold him off." "Absolutely not. Please. You don't get to leave me again. This time I have to." I didn't realize I was crying until she wiped my face with bloodied fingers. "I love you," she whispered. "So much it terrifies me." "Then don't do this. If he gets both of you, it's over. He'll use her blood and your bond to make monsters we can't stop. We'll stop him together." "No," she said. "You'll live. That's how we stop him." She pressed something into my hand. A vial. Glowing faintly blue. "What is this?" "Insurance." "For what?" "To remind you I didn't give up. I made a choice." Dahlia. But she was already gone. Into the fire. Into the storm. And I was left holding a weapon I didn't understand, and a love I refused to lose. The forest had never felt so quiet. Not when we were running for our lives. Not when the smoke of burning cabins still clung to our clothes, to our lungs, to the memory of what we'd left behind. I ran until my legs collapsed beneath me. Until my hands were raw from catching myself on rocks and roots. Until Lyra grabbed my arm and dragged me into a hollow beneath an old oak tree, her voice low and sharp. "Stop. You're going to pass out. We need to stop." I wanted to scream. I wanted to run until the world ended. Because Dahlia had stayed. And I had let her. I sank to the ground, heart hammering, vision swimming. "She told me to take you," I gasped. "She told me." "I know," Lyra said. She didn't look at me. I was there. "She's not coming back if we don't go after her. Then we wait until we can fight without bleeding out in 5 seconds." She wasn't wrong. My side still burned from the silver slash I took in the attack. Blood had soaked through my shirt, and I'd torn the fabric off hours ago, pressing a moss poultice against the wound the way Dahlia taught me. But it wasn't enough. Nothing was. I lay back and stared at the branches above us. I should have fought harder. "You fought like hell," Lyra said. "So did she." I closed my eyes. She kissed me like it was goodbye. "Was it?" "No," I turned to her. "Because I'm going to bring her back. Or I'm going to die trying." Lyra studied me. "You really love her." "She saved me. From everything. From myself." "Then you deserve to know the truth about her." "What truth?" "Hellstrom didn't just train her to kill wolves. He created her to lead the purge. She wasn't just any hunter. She was his first experiment." I froze. "What do you mean, experiment?" Lyra sat down across from me. "You've seen how she moves. How she never misses. How her pain threshold is inhuman. That wasn't training. That was modification." "You're saying she's not fully human?"
"No."
"Not anymore." "Then what is she?" Something in between. That's why Hellstrom needs me. My blood can undo it. My immunity isn't just about silver. It's about restoring what was taken. If he gets me, he'll either finish what he started or make it permanent. I sat in silence, mind racing. Why didn't she tell me? Because she's ashamed. But she's not him.
No.
But she believes part of her still is. And if Hellstrom unlocks that part again, if he breaks her, he won't need an army. He'll just need her. My stomach twisted. Then we go now. You're not ready. I'll never be ready if we wait. Lyra pulled something from her pack, a small vial of shimmering liquid. This is my blood, she said. Concentrated. If he gets it, it's over. Then we use it first.
How?
I looked her dead in the eye. You said it can restore what he took, right? What if we use it to wake her up? You think he's brainwashing her? He already did it once. Why wouldn't he do it again? Lyra hesitated. There's one more thing. What? The reason he wants you. I frowned. Me? Your bond with her. It's not just emotional. It's chemical. The way she reacts to you. It's stronger than any known imprint. You stabilize her. She protects you. So if he takes her and breaks her through you, he'll make her unstoppable. But if you break first, he gets both of you. My breath caught. Then I don't break. You'd better not. She handed me the vial. This is our only shot. Where is he? I know where he'll take her. Her voice dropped. The Citadel. That place is real? Very. Hidden beneath the old city. Protected by layers of tech and spell work. But I know how to get in. Then take me there. You understand what you're asking, right? Completely. You'll have to unleash everything inside you. No holding back. I stood. I don't need to be saved anymore. I need to fight. She smiled grimly. Then let's get your monster out. We spent the next 12 hours pushing my body past every limit. Lyra knew more about wolves than even I did. She taught me how to control the shift, not suppress it. How to channel rage into precision. How to sharpen pain into focus. By the time night fell, I was no longer the girl who'd run from herself. I was ready to burn the world if it meant getting her back. We reached the Citadel entrance at midnight. Hidden beneath a collapsed church, the ground above it pulsing with old wards and protection runes. I took a deep breath, fingers curled around the vial, heart beating only one name.
Dahlia.
Are you ready? Lyra asked. No, I said. But I'm going anyway. We descended into the dark. And I was no longer afraid. The Citadel wasn't made of stone or steel. It was made of silence. The kind that pressed against your skin like a warning. The kind that made your breath catch and your instincts scream. We moved through the lower levels like shadows, Lyra in front, me behind, the vial pulsing like a heartbeat in my pocket. Every step closer to her felt like walking toward a ghost. The tunnels were cold, carved deep beneath the earth. The walls were lined with old tech and ancient symbols, a sick marriage of science and sorcery. Cameras blinked in the corners. Runes glowed faintly, warning away anything not authorized. But we'd prepared for this. Lyra had disabled the sensors and masked our scent with old blood and herbs. My heart was doing its best to claw out of my chest, but I kept going. Because Dahlia was here. Somewhere. Changed. Controlled. Waiting. The room where they kept her was like a shrine. White floors, silver restraints, sterile lights so bright it burned. And in the center of it she stood.
Still. Silent. Perfect.
My body locked. For a moment, I thought she was a statue. Then she turned. Her eyes found mine. Not recognition. Not warmth. Nothing. Her eyes, those soft, storm-dark eyes that used to soften when she looked at me, were now sharp and cold and wrong. She didn't speak. She didn't blink. She stepped forward, movements fluid, flawless, like a machine made of flesh. Dahlia. I breathed. She didn't flinch.
Target identified, she said.
Her voice, hers and yet not. Empty. Programmed. Lyra cursed under her breath. We're too late.
No, I said.
We're not. But then the lights dimmed, and from the far wall, A screen flickered on. Hellstrom,
Calm. Smiling.
leaning back like this was theater, and we were his stars. You made it farther than I expected, he said, touching. Give her back, I snarled. She doesn't belong to you. Oh, but she does, he said. She always has. I simply reminded her. You broke her.
No.
I freed her. He waved a hand. You see, Dahlia was always meant for more. She was never just a soldier. She was evolution.
She's a person, I said.
Not anymore. You turned her into a puppet. I stripped away the weakness. He leaned forward. That weakness was you. Then why am I still standing? His smile faltered. Because I wanted you to watch, he said. Watch what love costs. He turned to Dahlia. Eliminate the threat. And just like that, she moved.
Fast.
Precise. Lethal. I barely dodged the first strike, her blade singing past my cheek. Dahlia, no. It's me. She didn't hear. Or she didn't care. She came at me again, and this time I blocked it with everything I had. Pain lanced up my arms. She was stronger than before.
Faster.
I tried to speak. To reach her. You told me not to follow you. I gasped as she slammed me into the wall. You told me you loved me. Doesn't that mean anything to you? Her eyes flickered. For a fraction of a second, something cracked. But then it was gone. Threat must be neutralized, she said. She lunged again. Lyra tried to intervene, threw herself at Dahlia, claws out. But Dahlia moved like lightning, dropped her in one blow.
Lyra groaned, dazed.
Stop, I shouted. Please, please remember me. Another attack. I went down. Hard. My ribs screamed. Blood in my mouth. Everything spinning. I fumbled in my pocket. The vial. It was still there. My fingers closed around it. This isn't you, I whispered.
She loomed over me.
Blade raised. Then kill me, I said. If there's nothing left of you, if he really took you from me, then finish it. She froze. Blade trembling. The muscles in her arms tensed. But she didn't move. Her eyes met mine. And I saw it. A flicker. A flicker of the woman who once kissed me in the dark and whispered my name like it was sacred. I took the vial and crushed it between us. The liquid glowed bright blue as it hit her skin. She staggered back, gasping. Her hands flew to her head. No, she whispered. No, no, no. Dahlia? I crawled toward her. She collapsed to her knees, screaming, clawing at her own skin. What did he do to me? He tried to erase you. Her eyes found mine again.
Wet. Wide.
Terrified. Ivy. I almost. But you didn't. I grabbed her. Held her. You came back. But then alarms blared. The entire citadel shook. Lyra staggered to her feet. He knows. He knows she's back. Then we fight. No, Dahlia said. Her voice was shaking. We run. I can't control it yet. If he triggers the failsafe. If he loses control of me, I'm programmed to self-destruct. My heart stopped.
What?
The explosion would kill this whole level, including you. Then we shut it down. No time. Dahlia, we're not losing you again. There's another way out, Lyra said, already moving. A supply shaft in the eastern wall. It's old, but it might work.
Then go, Dahlia said.
I'll stay and hold them. You're not doing this again, I shouted. You're not dying for me. I'm dying with you, she said. Not if I have anything to say about it. I grabbed her hand. We leave together. Or we don't leave at all. Her eyes softened. God, you're stubborn. You love that about me. I do. Then trust me. Let's go. She nodded.
Weak.
Shaking. But herself. We ran. Alarms screamed behind us. Voices shouted. Gunfire echoed through the halls. But we didn't stop. We didn't look back. We just ran. Toward whatever came next. The explosion behind us tore through the earth like thunder. It lit the sky in fire and ash, and for a moment, everything was silent. We were crouched inside a collapsed train tunnel half a mile from the citadel, lungs burning, ears ringing, covered in dirt and blood. I held her hand so tightly, I couldn't tell where my grip ended and hers began.
Dahlia didn't speak.
She hadn't spoken since we fled. Her skin was cold, her eyes vacant. The woman who'd broken through the programming, who'd chosen me again even when everything inside her screamed to obey, was now trapped in the aftermath of what she'd been turned into. "You're safe," I whispered, brushing soot from her face. "You're with me. You came back to me."
But she didn't respond.
Not with words. Not with anything. Her breathing was shallow. Her body curled in on itself like she was bracing for another command. Lyra crouched beside us, pressing a hand to Dahlia's wrist. Pulse is erratic. "She's not bleeding, but she's not here," I said, my throat raw. "She's stuck somewhere inside herself." "It's the reset," Lyra muttered. "Her brain is trying to rebuild the original pathways. It's like pulling someone out of a coma while they're still drowning." "What do we do?" "We give her time. And we don't let go." I didn't. I stayed beside her for hours, through the night, whispering things she once said to me. I told her how she'd held me that night in the cabin, how she'd kissed me like I was the only thing tethering her to the world. I told her I loved her, again and again, until my voice broke. She flinched once, somewhere near dawn. Just a twitch. But it was hers. I caught it, held onto it like oxygen. "Come back to me, Dahlia," I whispered, pressing my forehead to hers. "Please." The next day, we made camp in an abandoned barn miles away, too far from anyone, too isolated for Hellstrom to find. At least for now. Lyra kept watch. I stayed with her. Dahlia still hadn't spoken. She moved now, slowly, stiffly. She would drink if I pressed the water to her lips. She would eat if I reminded her.
But she didn't look at me.
Not really. Until the third night. I woke to find her staring at me. Not empty. Not cold. Just lost. "Dahlia," I whispered. She blinked. "You're real," she said, voice barely a breath. "You're real. I'm here." Her hand trembled as she reached for mine. Our fingers touched. "I remember," she whispered. "I remember everything." My breath caught. "You came back." Her eyes filled with tears. "I almost killed you. But you didn't." "I wanted to."
"No," I said.
"You were forced to." "I felt it," she said.
The command.
The silence. Like something inside me was screaming, but I couldn't move. "You broke through it. Because of you." She curled into me, shaking. "I don't know who I am anymore, Ivy." "You're mine," I said. "That's who you are." She kissed me. It was soft. Desperate.
Real.
We held each other like survivors clinging to the last warm thing in a frozen world.
But the moment didn't last.
Lyra burst into the barn, out of breath. "We have a problem." I stood. "What now?" "He's alive." "No," Dahlia whispered. "That explosion. He had a failsafe of his own. A teleport ward. Sloppy, unstable, but it worked." "Where is he now?" "No idea. But he's left a message." Lyra handed me a blood-stained cloth. On it, a symbol burned into the fabric, 2 interlocking crescents. I recognized it. The hunter's mark. "It means he's declared a personal vendetta," Dahlia said. "No more soldiers. No more teams. He's coming himself." "Why?" I asked. "Because he's out of options," Lyra said. "And out of control." "What does that mean?" "It means he's no longer trying to use the blood," she said. "He's trying to become something else." "Something like you?" Dahlia asked. Lyra shook her head. "Worse." We didn't sleep that night. Dahlia paced. Her strength was coming back in waves, jagged and violent. She was regaining her memory in pieces. Sometimes she'd double over, whispering things in languages I didn't know. Other times she'd stare at her hands like they belonged to someone else. But through it all, she kept looking at me, as if I was the only thing keeping her anchored. I didn't tell her how much I needed her to. That even now, part of me was still afraid. That when she'd looked at me in that white room, blank and dangerous, I'd thought I'd already lost her. But I hadn't.
Not yet.
If he comes for us, I said, we end this. Agreed, Dahlia replied. And if we don't survive it, then we make damn sure he doesn't either. Lyra stared out the broken window. He's going to use the blood, she said. He'll inject it, fuse it with his own. But without a stabilizer, it'll destroy him, Dahlia finished. Or worse, it'll mutate him. He'll lose what little humanity he has left, I whispered. Exactly. Dahlia turned to me. We have to stop him before he completes the transformation. And we have to be ready if we're too late, Lyra said. He's not just hunting us anymore. What then? I asked. He's coming to erase us. The last threads of what he failed to control. We made a plan. We would find him before he could finish the final dose. We would end it on our terms, not his. And if it cost us everything, so be it. Because this wasn't just about survival anymore. This was about choosing who we were in the face of what he tried to make us. And I would not let him take her from me again. The sky exploded behind us in a fireball that tore through the mountain like a beast awakening from centuries of slumber, roaring into the night and silencing everything around us. The ground shook beneath my knees as I clutched Dahlia's hand like it was the only thing anchoring me to reality. We had made it out, barely. The citadel collapsed in on itself, smoke rising like a curse lifted too late, and I couldn't stop shaking, couldn't stop watching her face for signs of recognition, signs of life, signs that the woman I loved was still in there somewhere. Dahlia hadn't spoken a word since we ran. She moved with us, limping through the woods, dazed and silent, but it wasn't her, not really. Her eyes were glassy, empty, like someone had turned out the lights behind them and left only the shell. I didn't let go of her even as we stumbled into the old train tunnel where Lyra had stashed emergency supplies, didn't let go as we collapsed to the ground, my body screaming from exhaustion and wounds I didn't have time to feel. Lyra crouched in front of us, assessing Dahlia with the steady hands of someone who'd seen too much to be surprised anymore. Pulse is erratic, she murmured. She's responsive to stimuli, but it's like she's not registering it. The programming backlash hit hard. She's stuck, I whispered, still trapped in whatever he did to her. Her mind's rebooting itself, Lyra said, trying to remember what's real and what's code.
She needs time. And you.
I nodded, tears threatening again, but I didn't let them fall. I just pulled Dahlia into my arms, held her against my chest, rocked her like she used to do for me when I couldn't sleep, whispered her name over and over, and told her everything I remembered about us. How she used to laugh when she thought I wasn't watching, how her fingers trembled the first time she touched my bare skin, how she used to whisper apologies into my hair when nightmares woke me in the middle of the night. I told her I loved her so many times my voice went raw, and still she didn't speak, didn't blink, didn't move. Until just before dawn, when her fingers twitched against mine. It was barely a movement, but it shattered me, and I pressed my forehead to hers and whispered, "Come back to me. Please, baby, come back to me." The next day we set up camp in a long-abandoned barn miles from the ruins of the citadel, isolated enough to buy us a little time, but close enough to danger that the air still felt like it buzzed with aftershock. Dahlia sat on a pile of blankets in the corner, unmoving, staring at nothing. I stayed close, coaxing her to drink, to eat, to sleep. She did what I asked, but only that. She didn't speak. Not until the third night. I woke up to find her staring at me in the dark. Her eyes weren't empty anymore. They were wide, confused, haunted. "You're real," she whispered, her voice like cracked glass. "You're real." "I'm here," I said, crawling toward her, reaching for her hand. She didn't pull away. "I remember," she said. "Everything." My breath hitched. "You came back to me." Tears welled in her eyes. "I almost killed you. But you didn't." "I wanted to." "No," I said firmly. "You were programmed to. That wasn't you." "It felt like me," she whispered. Like there were two voices in my head, and I didn't know which one was mine anymore. I took her face in my hands. "You broke through it. You fought your way back. You chose me. That's all that matters." She collapsed into my arms then, trembling. I don't know who I am anymore. You're mine, I said softly, fiercely. That's who you are. She kissed me with lips that tasted like guilt and grief and longing, and I kissed her back like she was my oxygen. We clung to each other, desperate and fragile and alive. But it didn't last. The barn doors slammed open, and Lyra stood there, panting. We have a problem. I pulled away, heart in my throat. What? He's alive. Dahlia stiffened beside me. That explosion. Failsafe, Lyra said. Teleportation rune. Crude, unstable, but effective enough. Where is he? We don't know, but he left a message. She tossed a cloth into my lap, burned at the edges, blood-streaked, with a symbol I recognized immediately. 2 interlocking crescents. The hunter's mark, I breathed. Dahlia exhaled sharply. He's declared vendetta. That means no teams. No soldiers. Just him.
Why?
I asked. Because he has nothing left to lose, Lyra said. And because he's not just trying to kill you anymore. Then what is he trying to do? He's trying to evolve, Lyra said. He's going to use the serum, my blood, combine it with Dahlia's corrupted coding. He wants to become something more than human. Can he survive that? I asked. Not without stabilizers.
Which he doesn't have.
So he'll die. Or he'll become something even worse. Dahlia stood, slowly, unsteadily, but her voice was steady when she spoke. Then we have to stop him before he finishes the process. And if we're too late? I asked. Then we put him down, she said, eyes hard. No hesitation. That night was the first time I saw the old Dahlia start to return. The one who made plans with the calm intensity of someone used to leading, used to sacrificing, used to doing what no one else could. But there was something new in her too, something raw, vulnerable. She didn't hide her hands when they trembled. Didn't flinch when I caught her staring at the scars on her arms like she didn't know how they got there. She leaned into me when I sat beside her, rested her head on my shoulder, held my fingers tight. If I lose control again, she whispered, promise me you'll do what has to be done. No, Ivy, no, I said, turning to her. You don't get to ask me that. You fought your way back to me. You don't get to give up now. It's not giving up. It's protecting you. Then stay with me. That's how you protect me. Her lips brushed mine. You make me want to live. Then live. Outside, the wind howled like something ancient and angry was hunting us. Maybe it was. But I didn't care. Because for the first time since everything shattered, I had her in my arms again. And I would burn the world before I let anyone take her from me now. The forest pressed in around us like a cage of roots and silence. We hadn't stopped moving for 3 days. Every time we paused, I could feel the weight of him behind us, Hellstrom, breathing down our necks like smoke from a fire that refused to die. Lyra led the way with a map burned into her mind and rage in her veins. Dahlia stayed close to me but spoke little. Her body was stronger now, more hers, but her silences said more than her words. She barely slept, barely ate unless I reminded her. At night, I'd find her sitting alone, watching the stars with her arms wrapped around herself like they were all that held her together. I'd sit beside her, waiting for her to speak. And finally, on the 4th night, she did. I remember more, she said, eyes still on the sky. Things I wish I didn't. I turned to her. You don't have to tell me if you're not ready. But I want you to know who you're choosing, she whispered. Even if it makes you hate me. I reached for her hand. She flinched but didn't pull away. I'll never hate you. You don't know what I've done. I know what was done to you. That's not the same. It's enough for me. Her jaw trembled. She looked down at our joined hands. There were missions I don't remember clearly. Faces. Screams.
Blood.
And then there was the girl. I stilled. What girl?
She was young.
Maybe 15. I was ordered to track her down, told she was a rogue wolf with ties to rebellion cells. They told me she was dangerous. Was she? No, Dahlia whispered. She was terrified. She didn't shift. She begged me, called me sister. said she knew me. Did you? I don't know. But I hesitated. And that was enough for the collar to activate. It triggered the override. The next thing I remember, she was dead. I felt her fingers shaking in mine. I never told Hellstrom I remembered that one. But I saw her face in my dreams for years. I still do. I leaned closer, pressing my forehead to hers. You were forced to do unforgivable things. That doesn't make you unforgivable. It should, she breathed. Then why are you still fighting? Why did you come back for me? Her eyes searched mine like she was waiting for me to change my mind, to run, to recoil. I didn't. I kissed her instead, slow, fierce, grounding. Because I know who you are. And I know who he tried to make you. They're not the same. She kissed me back like she believed me for a moment. But guilt lingers like smoke. We kept moving. Hellstrom's trail led us into the ruins of an old industrial city on the edge of the territory, a place long abandoned after the first wolf purges, now nothing but collapsed buildings and rusted metal and the smell of old pain. He's nesting here, Lyra said, crouched behind a wall, scanning the skyline, drawing power from what he destroyed. He always liked symbols, Dahlia muttered, burning things down just to build himself higher. He's ready, Lyra added. I can feel the pull of the serum, the blood. He's already altered. Then this is our last chance, I said. We stop him tonight. We broke in through the west side of the compound. Lyra disabled the perimeter runes with a few whispered spells and a needle prick of her own blood. The inside was colder than it should have been. The lights flickered red. The walls pulsed with energy that wasn't natural. And in the center of it, waiting like a king on a throne of wires and bones, was Hellstrom. He stood slowly, his body unfamiliar, twisted, taller. His eyes glowed silver. Veins shimmered across his arms, dark and wrong.
Welcome, he said, to the end.
You never change, Dahlia said, still monologuing like you're in a comic book. Still clinging to things that make you weak, he countered, eyes flicking to me.
Love.
Redemption. Regret. Tell me, did your little mate forgive you for killing that girl? My blood froze. Dahlia stiffened beside me. You knew, she whispered. He laughed. I made you do it. I wanted to see how far you'd go. How much you'd remember. And when you cried in your sleep afterward, I knew I'd won. I stepped forward. You didn't win anything. She's not yours. She's mine in ways you can't even begin to understand, he hissed. Her blood sings to me. She is my creation. She's her own person, I said. And she chose me. Then you'll die together. He lunged. Too fast. Too strong. Not human anymore. Not wolf. Something in between. Lyra tackled him, drawing a blade laced with her blood, slashing across his chest. He screamed. The wound sizzled. He's unstable, she shouted. The mutation isn't complete. Then let's rip it apart. I shifted, letting the wolf rise inside me fully, claws and fangs and fury. Dahlia moved with me, her eyes burning with power she no longer feared. We struck as one. He fought like a god, but he bled like a man. And he screamed when Dahlia drove the blade into his side, whispering, This is for every name I forgot. But he didn't fall. He roared, and the ground shook, and something inside him pulsed, too bright, too hot. He's triggering the collapse. Lyra shouted. We have to get out. No, Dahlia said. Not yet. Dahlia, go. Both of you. I'll finish it. Don't you dare, I screamed. I won't lose you again. She turned to me, eyes soft. I love you. That's why I have to do this. Then take me with you, I begged. Whatever happens, we face it together. She hesitated, then nodded. Together. We faced him side by side. Broken, bloody, but whole in a way he would never understand. And when the room began to shatter around us, we didn't flinch. The moment Hellstrom's roar cracked the air, the building began to collapse around us. Steel screamed. Concrete split. Energy flared in pulses that bent the air, heat searing through our skin as the blood-fueled mutation inside him reached critical mass. Lyra screamed for us to run, her voice barely audible over the shrieking alarm of the world ripping itself apart. But Dahlia didn't move. And neither did I. Because I knew what she was thinking. She thought this had to end with sacrifice. Hers. Again. And I wouldn't let that happen. Not this time. Not after everything we had survived to find each other again. Dahlia. I shouted, grabbing her wrist. Don't you dare leave me behind. Her eyes were wild, flickering between who she was and who she thought she still had to be. The weapon, the martyr, the soldier. He won't stop unless we end it here, she said through gritted teeth. Then we end it together, I shouted. But I'm not losing you again. The mutated shell of Hallstrom staggered back to his feet. His form was no longer human, barely even monstrous. It was chaotic, molten, unstable. His eyes had become pits of burning silver, and when he moved, his bones cracked audibly under his skin, like his body was revolting against the transformation. He howled, and the ground split beneath him. You love her, he growled, voice warped, distorted. You think that will save you? It already has, I said, stepping in front of Dahlia. You took everything from her, but you never got this. Then I'll take it now, he snarled. He launched toward me with terrifying speed, a blur of claws and fury. But Dahlia was faster. She tackled him midair, the two of them slamming into the far wall with an impact that cracked the foundation. Dust and fire rained from the ceiling. Go! Lyra shouted again, her voice ragged as she fought to keep a structural beam from crushing the exit. I can't hold it forever. Not without her. I cried. Dahlia stood again, face bloodied, eyes blazing with fury I had only seen once, back when she'd begged me not to follow her into the dark. He's destabilizing, she panted. If we break the serum core, his body won't survive it. Where is it? His spine. Near the base. Then let's tear it out, I said. She looked at me then, and something passed between us that didn't need words. A promise. A reckoning. A final, desperate hope. We charged together. His claws slashed across my shoulder, slicing deep, but I didn't stop. I ducked, pivoted, struck. Dahlia came from behind, her blade finding purchase near his spine. But he bucked violently, screaming, throwing her across the room. I saw her body slam into a pillar. I screamed her name.
I felt something snap inside me.
Not a bone. Not my heart. Something deeper. I shifted fully. My wolf rose, not in pain, not in rage, but in love. Because I knew she needed me. Because I couldn't lose her again. I pounced on Hallstrom, clawing into his back with everything I had. He howled, twisting, but I held on. And then Dahlia was there again, limping, bloody, blade in hand. Together, we struck. The blade pierced deep. The serum core flared with light, sickly red and black and silver. Hallstrom screamed. His body convulsed. And then he exploded. Not in fire, but in silence. Light and shadow swallowed him whole, and when it faded, all that remained was a crater of molten steel. We collapsed beside each other, breathing like survivors of the apocalypse. He's gone, she whispered. It's over. Is it? I asked, tears slipping down my cheeks. Because I'm still terrified you'll disappear on me. She turned to me, bloody and bruised, and kissed me so softly I forgot how to breathe. I'm here. I'm not leaving you again. Never. Lyra stumbled over, coughing. We have to go. This place won't hold. We limped out together, smoke rising behind us, the sky above us finally clear. The fight was over. But the aftermath, the rebuilding of who we were now, was just beginning. The village was small, forgotten by maps and memory. Nestled between silent mountains and forest older than names, it was the kind of place where even the wind didn't ask questions. That's where we went after the collapse, after Hallstrom burned away and left nothing but silence in his wake. Lyra found the cottage, tucked behind a grove of moss-covered stones, abandoned but solid. It had one bed, a cracked fireplace, and floorboards that groaned under every step. It was perfect. We arrived bloody and hollow, and for a while, none of us said anything. We slept. For days. Not all at once, never at the same time. But sleep came in fits and starts, like a body learning how to trust itself again. Dahlia slept the least. I'd wake in the middle of the night to find her sitting on the edge of the bed, staring at her hands, or the wall, or nothing. Once, I touched her shoulder, and she flinched so hard, I thought she'd shift. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "Sometimes I forget I'm not there anymore." "You're here," I said. "With me." But being with me didn't stop the nightmares. She didn't scream when she had them. Dahlia never screamed. She endured them. Her body would tense, curl into itself, fists clenched, jaw locked. And I would hold her until the shaking passed, whispering her name like a lifeline, like a vow. During the day, Lyra would gather herbs and supplies, always watching the horizon like something was waiting just beyond it. I asked her once if she thought Hallstrom had left anything behind. She didn't answer with words, just tightened her grip on her blade. Something lingered. We all felt it, like a weight still pressing down on our chests. Dahlia tried to ignore it. She spent hours walking through the trees, chopping firewood with more force than necessary, fixing things that didn't need fixing. She kissed me less, touched me less, as if the softness between us had become too fragile, too sharp, like she was afraid it would shatter, or that she would. I let her have space, but not distance. And finally, one morning, when the frost clung to the windows and I found her outside barefoot in the snow, staring at nothing, I stepped behind her and wrapped my arms around her waist. "You don't have to bleed in silence," I said. "I'm not bleeding," she whispered. "Not where you can see." "Then show me." Her body stiffened. "I'm trying to be okay for you." "I don't need you to be okay," I said. "I need you to be honest. I killed people, Ivy." Her voice cracked. "I tore lives apart. I let him use me. I let him turn me into. You survived." I turned her to face me. "You fought your way back. And you saved me. What if there's still something inside me he left behind? Then we face it. Together. But you don't get to decide for me that I'm better off without you." Her eyes filled with tears, the first I'd seen since the Citadel. "You love me even now." "Especially now." I kissed her, slow and deep, until her hands gripped my shirt and her mouth trembled against mine, and she finally exhaled like she'd been holding her breath since the day we met. We didn't make love that night. We held each other. We reminded each other of skin, of breath, of heartbeat, of being alive, of deserving to be. The next morning, Lyra returned from the village's edge with a look I didn't like. "We need to talk." She placed a bundle on the table, old documents, half-burned, the smell of silver still clinging to them. "I found these buried near the ridge." Dahlia stiffened. "More of Hallstrom's?" "Worse," Lyra said. "A new symbol. A variation on his seal. Same structure. Different code." "Someone else picked up his research?" I asked. Lyra nodded. "And improved it." "Improved how?" She unwrapped a vial from the bundle. The liquid shimmered pale blue instead of the usual red. It vibrated faintly, like it was alive. Dahlia stepped back instinctively. "What is that?" "I think it's a hybrid strain," Lyra said. "Wolf and something else. It's still incomplete, but it's close." My stomach turned. "You think they're making more of him?" "No," Lyra said darkly. "I think they're trying to make something worse." Dahlia ran her fingers through her hair. "How long do we have?" "Not long. Whoever they are, they're smarter. And they've learned from Hallstrom's failure." "Then we don't rest," I said. "We hunt." Dahlia met my gaze. "Are you sure?" "They're making monsters," I said. "And we already know how to kill those." But when I looked at her, at the woman I loved, the woman who had been the weapon and the sacrifice and the survivor, I knew this war would cost us more. And this time, we'd have to choose how much we were willing to give. The wind howled over the cliffs, sharp with the sting of winter and war. Below us, nestled in the forest's hollow, like a cancer disguised as sanctuary, was the compound. It didn't carry Hallstrom's insignia. It was cleaner, sleeker, the kind of place designed not for violence but for evolution. Lyra studied it through the scope, lips pressed into a hard line. This isn't a lab. It's a breeding ground. How many? Dahlia asked, voice steady but low. More than we can fight alone. Then we don't fight alone, I said, stepping forward. We expose them. They've been operating in the dark for a reason, Lyra replied. If we drag them into the light, they'll burn half the world to stay hidden. Then we burn brighter. The three of us descended as one, two former monsters and the one woman brave enough to walk beside us. The deeper we moved into the forest, the more the air vibrated. Dahlia touched my hand briefly, her fingers calloused and warm, grounding me. She didn't need to say anything. We had already said everything in the silence between breaths these past few weeks. We reached the perimeter right as the patrol passed. They weren't human. Not entirely. Their eyes shimmered with faint silver. Their scent was wrong, part wolf, part something else. Lyra took the first one down with a needle-thin dart. Dahlia handled the second, quick and silent. I took the third, shifting mid-strike, my claws finding the vulnerable space beneath its ribs. No screams. No alarms. We slipped inside like ghosts. The facility was pristine. White walls, glass corridors, flickering terminals. A place that didn't just erase humanity, it pretended it had never existed. And in the center of it all, behind reinforced glass, was a girl, maybe 12, curled in a corner, hooked to wires, her eyes open and empty. They're starting younger, Dahlia whispered. Training loyalty before the mind can resist. How many like her? I asked. Dozens, Lyra said. Some further along. Some already gone. I met Dahlia's gaze. We stop this. Tonight. She nodded. Whatever it takes. We planted charges through the north wing, opened cages one by one, guided the barely aware children toward the exits. Lyra stayed with them, protecting their retreat. Dahlia and I went deeper. Into the lab's heart. Into the place where they kept the blueprint. The scientist was waiting. A woman in a white coat, eyes bright with zealotry. You came, she said to Dahlia. I always hoped you would. You know me? I made you. Dahlia didn't blink. Then this is poetic, isn't it? We were building something better, the woman said. Hallstrom was a brute. We refined the design. You're not a failure, Dahlia. You're the prototype. I'm not yours, Dahlia hissed. The woman smiled. Oh, but you are. And now you've brought the anomaly with you. The pureblood. The mutation. How generous. Her gaze slid to me, calculating. You're what we never expected. The omega that didn't break. The one who made the weapon turn. You're not touching her, Dahlia said. No more cages. You could have been gods, the woman whispered. You still could. Dahlia stepped forward and fired. No hesitation. The woman dropped, blood blooming across her chest. Guess not, Dahlia muttered. We lit the last charge. The lab shook. Flames kissed the corners of every sterile eye. Alarms blared. We ran. At the exit, one of the hybrids blocked our path, larger than the others, its body pulsing with raw, unstable power. It growled, stepped forward, then stopped, sniffed the air, and lowered its head. It knows you, I said. No, Dahlia whispered. It remembers. Her voice broke. I train that one. Before I escaped, then call it back. I can't, she said. But maybe I can remind it what it used to be. She stepped toward it. Slowly. Carefully. No weapons. No fear. Just memory. You were 11, she said softly. You liked lemon drops. You used to sneak them from my coat. The hybrid shuddered. Its claws flexed. You had a scar on your hip from climbing the compound wall to chase the sun. Its eyes blinked. The red haze faded. For a moment, there was just a child inside a monster. Dahlia reached out. It's over, she whispered. You're free. The hybrid let out a soft whine, then turned and ran into the woods. We didn't chase. We let the fire consume the rest. Outside, the sky was turning pale gold. Lyra stood with the children at the edge of the treeline. None of them looked back. We watched the building collapse. One last grave for one last lie. Hours later, in the cabin where it all began, Dahlia curled against me, her head on my chest, her fingers tracing lines only we understood. "Do you think we're still broken?" she asked. I kissed her hair.
No.
"Just healing. You saved me. You came back to me. I'll never leave again." "Good," I said, pulling her closer, "because I think the world's going to need us." She smiled, then let them come. And when she kissed me, I knew we weren't survivors anymore. We were a warning. We were the storm. Thank you so much for being here and for believing in this channel. If you feel in your heart, you can donate with super thanks so I can focus more and more on this project. Your support helps me keep creating these love stories and bringing them to life for you. See